welcome back everybody. Slim Slam and the Bandwagon fan coming at you tonight with some AFC action for the first time in Season 2, looking at the East. And before we jump into that though, I'm Slim, he's Slam, and to my left, that is the Bandwagon fan. As always, proudly brought to you by the Jersey Cartel on Facebook and JRV Electrical, our brand new sponsor. So for any needs, whether it be American sporting merchandise or electrical work, tell them Slim Slam and the Bandwagon fan sent you. How about that, eh?
Yeah.
Not bad?
Good.
I'm waiting to get a gig on the Channel 9 when they do, the infomercials.
Don't hold your breath.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Hey, AFC East is on the cards, boys. How are we doing? How are we feeling about that?
I'm feeling good about it, Blaze.
Yep.
I like the Dolphins.
Yes, you are hot on the Dolphins.
Got that Tua jersey.
Yep.
Unsure if I did the right thing last year with that, but we'll see how it plays out.
I like the Bills.
Yeah, well, you love the Bills.
I love the Bills. I love Josh Allen.
Back on
I love Stephon Diggs. I love everything about that team. Cole Beasley,
Diggs.
love him.
Yeah, Measly Beasley. Yep, love that.
Him.
And a bit of defense action with the Bills too.
Yeah, don't
You
mind
love
old Ed
defense?
Oliver.
Ed
Loves
Oliver.
playing defense.
Absolute beast. And there is some movers and shakers in Patriot land. Fresh news today regarding one Cam Newton, Superman himself.
Today of when we're recording this, yes.
Yes,
Probably not
Yeah, well, you're
when the
watching
viewers are digesting this digestible
We do have
content.
we do have 9 to 5s, unfortunately. So that was.
Wonder how many times I can say digestible tonight.
And we
There's
would like to apologise off the rip for the previous episode with some of our speech issues that were going on there. A few speech impediments flying around.
Is a broad way
Yeah, I'm
to
not.
summarise
No,
it.
because I'm not going to isolate anyone in
fair
particular.
Me out here thinking I'm watching the Premier League and going, yeah, old mate's playing left back, and I'm trying to say, well, he's left tackle.
We all had our moments, put it that way.
Oh.
Some more than others.
Yeah, some more than others.
But we promise that we're going to try our best tonight.
And we promise we'll be better than the Jets front office going forward.
Absolutely, I don't mind that. A little bit of a
That's
clip
one we
on the
can
way
back up
through.
on.
Yeah, we definitely can back up on
We could
that.
do worse than last episode and still be better.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah,
Stop
that's
setting
true.
the bar high.
That's so true. Hey,
Neither's
Schnazzy.
your record for them.
For the Jets.
Yeah.
Nah,
Why don't we start with them off the rip?
Yeah, let's do it. Why
Want to
not?
go the Jets?
Yeah, let's go to the Jets.
Slammer, what do you got the Jets?
I got 1-16.
Oh, gee whiz.
I have got 0 love for the Jets.
Slammer, why so low?
Because they suck.
Oh, gee whiz. Schnazzy, what do you got him?
Oh, I've made a mistake.
What?
I got them 5 and 12.
What? You got him 5 and 12?
Yeah, I do. It's overs.
Oh, you actually do?
I do.
I think we're taking the PI double 5.
No, I'm not, my friend. I am not.
Jesus.
Is my handwriting not digestible enough for you?
No, it's a bit light, that red
Yeah.
pen. So what's going on there? Why do you like the Jets so much?
I always like to think you'll be better than last year.
Okay, you're an optimist.
I am. Look, they're going to have a bit more stability at quarterback
Yeah.
this year, which I think helps them significantly if we're getting serious for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, Sam Darnold, what did he started the season with mono, got an injury, threw quite a number of interceptions, and he's found his way being a high pick, traded out. So now they've got in the young
Lucky
BYU
him.
quarterback. Is it Zach Wilson?
Zach Wilson,
Zach
indeed.
Wilson,
Yep.
number 2 pick.
Number 2 pick.
And they got Adam Gaze up and out of there.
And they got Adam Gase up and about there.
That's
So
the best thing they've done.
Adam Gase leaving adds 2 wins for mine. Zach Wilson probably flukes a win or 2.
Yep.
That gets you to 4. One more, just round up.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, the way you put it together, the argument
Just round up.
sounds pretty sound. Slammer, you got a counter argument for me?
Yeah, I still think they suck. 1 win. Look, I might have been harsh.
Okay.
Let's be realistic. Maybe they get to 3. When I was doing it, and I'd go through it and I'd do it week by week, because we're not one of those silly talk shows, Blaze, where they just hit you with, this team's got 10 wins and this team's got 12 wins, and then you end up with, there's actually, like, in their season, there's 400 wins and only 150 losses, and you're like, well, the math doesn't work out.
So you're having a crack at the overpaid blokes in suits, eh?
Absolutely I am, because I don't spend as much time on it as me and the old fella over here do. But anyway.
If you do want to sponsor the show, though, ESPN, First Take, Fox Sports 1 or whatever.
CBS, Barstool Sports.
Anywhere. So I've got them 1
Holler
and
at
6.
you boys.
I've got them 1-16. Now, Zach Wilson, I don't know, doesn't instill a lot of confidence in me at all. You know, like, and it's all the
I
talk
wouldn't
is-
have taken him number 2.
No, all the talk is that all 5 of these quarterbacks that were taken in the first round, they're all going to be superstars. It's like, well, they're not though, are they? Like, when has that ever happened in the history of a draft? It doesn't. In the last 10 years, of all the quarterbacks that have been like drafted in the first round, which I had a look today, is 32, right? Had a brief look through. 5 of them you could say were superstars.
Yeah.
5. So the likelihood that all 5 of these are going to be superstars, not very good. Now, I reckon Trevor's going to be a bit better, so he's probably going to be the only superstar that comes out of this draft.
Oh, yeah.
And like this guy's probably my fourth most likely to be the superstar in this draft.
I would have him fifth.
Fifth?
Yeah, fifth.
Because I think you got to speak a lot to, and we're going to get to Mac
would-
Jones in New England, but situation is a big part of how
It
these
does.
new
I mean,
quarterbacks go.
there's some great quarterbacks.
Yeah, and he's
the
going
most
into
talent.
this guy's going into the worst.
He's going
one.
into the worst situation possible.
Yeah.
There's been so many quarterbacks go through there in the last 15 years who have done absolutely nothing,
And
and
he's
it's
like-
not all on the quarterback.
He's slim. He's not very tall.
Yeah.
I'm just worried, and that like the offensive line's not great. Like
He's
the
light.
pieces around him. Yeah,
He does,
the pieces around him aren't great.
I want to tiptoe a line here, and I just want to be careful, but he's just not very physically intimidating.
No.
Like, he's just not... He's
Mac
not
Jones is more
it's like
physically
what we-
intimidating, and he's
It's
got
like
a
what we
gut.
said about Teddy Bridgewater last year.
Yeah. I just think... And you're going into a franchise, like we kind of mentioned, it's been a dumpster fire for a long, long time.
And he's not from a big football school
Not
either.
but BYU?
BYU.
Yeah,
Well, it's
so
a football school.
It's a football school, but it's not one of the powerhouses. It's
No.
not like from a big power conference where they're
Ivy,
out there
yeah.
like...
So a
I don't
bit
know.
light on.
I just don't know.
I don't know either. I don't love it.
Slammer, what you got for me in terms of ins?
Ins, well,
Obviously,
so
Zach Wilson.
they took Elijah Vera-Tucker, the offensive lineman at USC, which I did like that.
Bit of support.
Now they have gone out and helped him on offense. So the second round, they had 2 first rounders. They were both picks inside the top 14. Second round, they picked 34, so that's another really early pick. They got Elijah Moore, the wide receiver out of Mississippi.
Yep.
So that's, he's only 5'9", but he's got to be a stretch.
He's a stretcher, yeah, he's rapid.
And then they took Michael Carter, the running back out of North Carolina, right? So they have gone out and tried to help him on offense, which is good.
But
because
so far,
he's going to need it.
So far, it's a lot of rookies.
That's a lot of young guys, isn't it, Blaze? They got Carl Lawson, the defensive end. They got Corey Davis from Tennessee,
which is a good one.
which is a
I
good
like
one.
The Corey Davis pick.
Do I think they may be overpaid?
Definitely.
Yes, I do think they may be overpaid in 3 years, 37.5
But it's
million.
a big need for
But
them.
yeah, it's a huge need because they lost.
You have to pay
they lost
as well.
Bobby Anderson the other year, who
Yeah.
looked when he was at the Jets not that good.
Yeah.
Goes down to Carolina, looks pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, haven't lost really much in terms of free agency to other teams because there wasn't much to lose.
No.
Except they did actually get to offload Joe Flacco, which I did like. And I am hot. Like I do think Salah is going to be a good coach.
He
And
was
I
our
think
number one.
He was fantastic.
He was our number one guy last year
couldn't-
who we
you and I
wanted
both-
everyone to take.
Yeah, we both couldn't believe that nobody took him last year.
Yeah.
And like, I think with him, you know what you're going to get. It's going to be defensive orientated. They're going to try and fix the defense first, and then they'll worry about scoring points later, which reminds me of the whole Brian Flores thing. Like, he goes down to Miami. They just worry about defense first. They have a really bad first 4 weeks. Then the middle of the year, they're all right because they're
learning.
they're in low-scoring games, and then by the end, they're beating a few teams, which it has a little bit of a similar feel to that of like Miami like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll buy that.
I don't mind that.
So the fans on that one, while we're at it,
Yep.
the line for the Jets is 5.5 this season. 80% went unders.
Yeah.
So it's
get
a fair call.
And technically, you live with the under 2 at 5
I
wins.
do.
You're
I'm-
still there.
I'm right on the fence. But
Yeah.
you know what? We're not expecting a lot out of the Jets. We're
No.
happy with the moves they made in the offseason.
I think if they get to
I think
5
even
would be...
the Jets, if they only win 3 or 4 games, they're not going to be like, there's no blowing up of anything.
that's
Like,
what I
they're
was
not
gonna
going to
say.
they're not going to fire the coach. They're not going to get rid of the quarterback. This is at least a 3-year deal before they make any rash moves like that.
The worst part the Jets fans will be spewing about, right, is that game they won last year, which cost them Trevor.
Yeah, I'd be upset about that too.
So now you're in a team that's potentially trying to build. You've got a new era. You've got a new coach. You could have potentially one of the greatest quarterbacks
Coming
in
out
the
of college
last
ever.
10 years
Yeah.
coming out. And you've ended up with Zach Wilson. You haven't even taken Justin Fields. You haven't taken Trey Lance. You haven't taken Mac Jones, who have all had pretty good preseasons
Yeah,
too.
I like how Justin Fields has been looking.
It's Jets fans as well. It just screams another front office mistake, Zach Wilson for
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah.
But look,
Yeah.
he could come out and well and truly be good. Like
This is
we
just,
were low on Herbert last
you
year.
know what I'd say
Yeah.
this feels like, Schnars? This feels a lot like when the Chicago Bears drafted Mitch Trubisky out of North Carolina, number 2 overall, and left Deshaun Watson to go pick 12 to the Texans. Like,
Ridiculous.
just bizarre.
What about Ella Bloke?
Yeah, but he wasn't hot coming out of college. You know, like, he was
Deshaun was
Had
hyped.
bad footwork and such.
Yeah, but Mac Jones is obviously the Alabama
Yes.
product, but he wasn't
Yeah.
that hot, and he's
No.
now.
But Deshaun Watson was coming out of Clemson, like off a national
Yeah.
championship. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, he's got the hype behind him, and
Yeah.
you've gone out and taken the other bloke.
Yeah.
So hopefully, for Zach Wilson's sake, that he finds greener pastures for his career than Mitchell Trubisky
Mitchell,
ended up
yes,
doing.
yes.
But they're
Hopefully, he
both,
gets through MetLife Stadium without doing his knee.
that's probably the longest we've ever talked about the Jets.
And it's too long.
Yeah.
So well done, boys.
But I think we've covered them well.
And we did it very maturely and
Yeah.
level-headedly, which was
Yeah.
important, except for the start, which was to be
I
expected.
can't help how I feel.
We're going to keep working our way up the board for something a
Patriots.
bit different here. So the New England Patriots making news today, the day of filming, not necessarily when you're watching us, but obviously Cam Newton got released this morning, and
Yeah.
It's an interesting
Mac
one.
Jones was named starter. Now, your take?
So, there's multiple sides or multiple different storylines that are going on here. One thing is Cam hasn't been vaccinated against COVID, and the NFL have quite strict rules against players who are and aren't vaccinated.
which makes you a liability to keep on your list. Yep,
It does, and then
He missed 5 days.
5 days of training.
Which I think has lost him the job.
Yep.
which I believe too. So Mac Jones is clearly impressed over the last 2 weeks specifically. And then Bill Belichick's, he's not a dumb guy. He's not an inexperienced coach. He knows what he sees in players.
not
He's
putting
seen
up with shit.
plenty of players come through.
We did mention this when he got signed. I'm not going to break your role too much here, but that Belichick was not going to stand for the antics.
Yeah,
And,
we're going down that path too, but I don't think Cam's been too bad since he's
I think
been
he's
there.
been pretty good,
Nothing,
yeah.
You know, you can get vaccinated, you don't have to get vaccinated. It's
Absolutely.
totally up to you. So I don't reckon he's been cut because of that, but I think he's got the experience to say, I've seen some rookie quarterbacks come through here. I've seen my fair share of players. I think Mac Jones has it. So it speaks volumes of Mac Jones and the confidence
does.
and the trust they have in him, which for mine is why I've landed on a record. This was I always thought Mac Jones would play 80% of the season, but I'll have him at 7 and 10, and I think the decision today for them to go head first,
Yep.
run with him, not even worry about Cam, speaks volumes to, I reckon, how well the team is positioned and how well they expect to play.
Yep.
Because Belichick's not going to stand around and try to build another dynasty. He's still got a pretty good team on both sides of the ball.
He does. He does.
It's okay, I'd say. The thing I find funny here, I feel like Mac Jones is a little bit the way Tom Brady was when he came out. He's not overly athletic looking. He's a bit boring looking.
He's 40
but he
time.
He's 40 time. He's just going to sort of do whatever Bill tells him to do, which I feel like that might have played in the part of getting rid of Cam as
In
well.
some respects, that's a perfect system quarterback.
Yes,
for
I
that
think he's very
location.
system quarterback. Bill knows what he wants. Bill's happy with that. So they bring in.
Tell me how they splashed their cash this
Well,
SummerSlam.
they went out, Blaze, and they
splashed.
did splash a bit of cash. You are right. They picked up Jonnu Smith, tight end, spent $50 million on that. And if that wasn't enough, they added another $37 million for a tight end and Hunter Henry, which is a little bit odd because they're both the same age. And yeah,
I like Hunter Henry a lot.
I like Hunter
Without
Henry.
injuries, he would have been up there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in the conversation with
but
top
it is
5 tight
bizarre
ends.
that you'd spend like $87 million on
Well, if there was,
two
if
tight
there was
ends.
one team in the NFL you'd trust to run a two tight end
They
offense,
do
it's
love
probably
tight
the
ends. They also
Patriots.
picked up Nelson Aguilar, who had
Yeah.
like a pretty okay year last year with the Raiders.
resurgence of the Raiders, for
Yeah,
sure.
definitely.
He had a great year.
Yeah,
Like a
and then
really good
Kyle
year.
Van Noy has gone from the Patriots to the Dolphins, and now he's back at the Patriots,
Yeah.
which is a bit weird. But
bouncing
anyway,
around.
I'm just gonna.
He just wanted to summer off.
Yes,
So
your
am I.
mate James White's managed to keep a gig.
Why would you get rid of him?
So obviously the Chiefs took Joe 30
Tom
as
Brady
well,
owes James White 3 rings.
and then Jason McCourty's gone as well. The draft, so they took a defensive lineman in the second and an edge in the third, and then they took a running back out of Oklahoma in the fourth as well. So I think that's sort of.
There's never
They're a
too
bit
much
all
to
over the
see in the
place.
Patriots
No,
draft
and
outside of
to
Matt
be honest,
this year.
lately in the drafts in the last 4 or 5 years, they've gone really poorly.
Yeah.
Like at all skill positions, things like that. Like they have not had one hit. So I think that's the worry at the moment. Their team is young, and some of the players. that
Nikhil
they-
Harry.
Yeah, and
I was
Nikhil
gonna
Harry
say,
is
yeah.
the number one for that. Like
He's someone that's on. He's on the.
Thin
Oh,
ice.
he's on very thin ice. Yeah, if he doesn't have an exploding year, I think he will
By
be
now,
sent back.
they really needed him to be that guy.
Yeah,
by
and he's
now.
not that.
Yeah.
He's not that at the moment. But I'm not sure he was ever that he's built to be that guy. Like he's a
Yeah.
speed outside type guy, and he's not a Tyreek Hill speed guy. So I'm not sure he can be your wide receiver one. I feel like
Yeah.
they need a big bodied guy as well, which is maybe why they went for the 2 tight end set.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
well. But yeah, I don't know. I've got him 5 and 12.
Maybe
That's got to be unders for mine.
maybe McDaniels and Belichick would dust off the old playbook from the mid 2000s
2001.
there.
So you've
Run
called
some
out
of
5
those
and
sets.
12,
I've
right?
got 5 and 12. Yeah.
The line's 9.5.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'd be chucking the unders.
47% are over. 53% are under.
Yeah, they get it.
That's huge.
I've got him losing both games to the Dolphins and both games to the Bills. So there's 4 losses just straight off the bat.
They get 2 against the Jets, so I don't need to win 3.
Oh, you never know. I might have given the Jets the 1 win against them. Who knows?
But to acknowledge the sports fans at an under of 9.5 to still pull in 47% of the vote is quite.
And most
large.
experts as well are calling them a double-digit win team.
Yeah,
They
I can't see that.
yeah, it's quite an interesting one. I still just before we move on from the
I can see them
Patriots,
getting to what you've said. I reckon 7 or 8 is, that's not a bad year for them.
I think
But
so
I can't
too.
see them getting above 8.
Double digits is a stretch in my
Like
opinion.
he's looked good in preseason. Mac Jones has,
I'll hit you with.
but he's playing against 3rd and 4th stringers. Like heaps of teams don't even take their 1st stringers anymore. Like
I will hit you with some news that
Let's take it
broke
with a
today
grain of
as well. Cam Newton obviously got released, but Stephon Gilmore's not going to feature till at least week 8.
He had a pretty average season last year, I might add too.
Yeah, but
Compared
still,
to the season
Yeah, he
before.
dropped
but
off.
still,
Yeah.
he's a huge part.
Yeah,
of
he
that
is
defense
now.
now.
But just before we move on to the next team in the East, I wouldn't
Yep.
mind touching on Cam Newman.
Cam Newman.
Jeez.
Sam Newman.
It's a bit of a throwback, Sam.
Cam Newman was in Seinfeld, I think.
Where do you think he's going to land?
Who's that? Cam.
Yeah.
Oh, look. As much as it pains me, well, it doesn't pain me because I don't care about them at all. But this just screams Dallas Cowboys. It just screams it. Like they got no backup. Like so if. What's
I think
his
that
name?
did get whispered
If
about
Dak
today.
goes down, like they're screwed. They're winning 3 games. Like they got Danucci as their third. I don't even know who their second is. Haven't been keeping up with Hard Knocks recently.
I can't believe how many times Danucci gets airtime on
I
that
know.
show. It's like
And,
every
like,
week.
It just.
Probably the only podcast that
But
actually
don't
brings
you
up his name.
think? Don't you think Jerry Jones would just be sitting there like, oh, gotta go and get him?
Yeah,
I
definitely.
just gotta go and get him. Like it just screams Jerry Jones.
I have the opinion that he's only going to go to a team to be a starter, and he probably won't be picked up week 1. He'll probably
What
come in.
team would he go to where he's a starter other than Houston?
I think Houston, maybe.
If they're not going to play Deshaun.
Yep. The other team is Indianapolis, which I mentioned to you before.
Yes, you did say
because
that.
Carson Wentz constantly injured.
Yeah.
He can't
He's
play a
also
full
not-
season.
He's also not vaccinated.
Yes, and the Colts are in a window. They've got a great list. They've got
Yeah.
a great
Great
defense,
offensive line.
great offensive line.
Mm.
You put Cam in there, they might actually be a double win team and make some noise. I still don't think he
The
takes
weapons
you
at
to a
wide
win.
receiver aren't great though.
I know they've still got. Is
Yeah.
T.Y. Hilton still?
T.Y. Hilton's
He's still there.
but
Like he
that's
had a
about
career,
it.
not a career seat. Out of his last 3 years, last year was his best year.
Yeah.
He'd been on a bit of a slope since.
Well,
But
it
I
gave
mean,
him a
that's
bit of
not hard when you lose Andy.
Red Rifle.
No, not the Red Rifle. Andrew Luck.
Andrew Luck.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he just walks out in preseason, doesn't help.
That's
Anyway, so I think he goes to a team that's got an injured quarterback and needs a star and needs a starter. And I think Dallas is probably the number 1 team, like Slammer mentioned.
I just feel like Jerry will do something stupid, like offer him a lot of money. Like
Yeah.
I feel like, well, not a lot of money, but in terms of football, but like he'll offer him more than what anybody else I think is
Yeah.
going to offer him.
Yeah.
Which just
For the aesthetic of it.
that's
you
just
know.
that's just Jerry. That's
They
just
do have the
Jerry
Hard
being
Knocks
Jerry,
team there,
the old
so maybe
senile prick.
like to get him to do a little special as Cam walks in.
Yeah. Oh, he'd love that.
Jerry
He would be loving Hard Knocks,
Yeah.
guys.
Absolutely.
Dolphins.
Struck the onto the Dolphins.
Onto
Yeah,
the Dolphins.
one of the Dolphins.
You got a dolphin noise for me?
No,
What does a dolphin sound like?
I'm not going to do that.
Why not?
You want to give us one?
Weird.
No, I'm not the sound effect guy. Miami Dolphins.
What do you do here if you're not the sound effects guy?
I do plenty. I do
Debatable.
plenty. She does.
Dolphins. I got them 10-7.
I've got them 11-6.
The fans have them
Yes. What do the fans got them?
9.5's the line, 40% over,
Oh,
53% under.
Okay.
we're both over.
We are both over. I think on what we saw last year, on defense, we know they're great.
Defense is fantastic.
The issue in which made the fans may also the sentiment the fans may share here.
Yep.
I'm looking at you.
Thanks, mate. Makes me feel comfortable. The issue with the Dolphins is clearly Tua.
Yes.
And I haven't written him off yet, but from what we saw last year, I'm not sold.
There's some red flags.
And I almost think that if he doesn't go well this year, he's gone.
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
So
Definitely on board.
that's the red flag. So if it's always hard to say you've got a team going 10-7 when you fully don't buy into the quarterback situation, but because they're pretty good around every other position on the field, you give them that because you know they'll get some.
And they upgraded at wide receiver in the first round.
They have.
Picked up Jalen Waddle, which I
They
liked.
did.
Yeah, Waddle is huge.
Interesting that Jalen Waddle also says that Mac Jones is a better quarterback
Yes, so that's going to be
than
an
Tua.
say that.
Yeah.
I didn't
And
say
they
that.
actually square up in week 1.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
it was.
I
In,
got
I think it was in a
Dolphins
draft.
for
It was
that.
one of the draft interviews. I
Yeah.
reckon.
These said he
Pre-draft
preferred Mac
interviews.
Jones to Tua,
Jeepers.
which is it all
I
works.
don't think so.
It all works out in funny ways.
It all does.
It all does. Slammer, your thoughts on the Miami Dolphins this year,
So
mate?
I like them.
Yep.
I always
always
liked
liked
them
them.
last year, didn't I?
Yep.
And like they got closer to making the playoffs last year than I thought they were going to,
Mm-hmm.
which I was pretty happy with. But so they picked up Jalen Waddle. I've got them going 11-6.
Yep.
Now they also picked up Will Fuller,
Yep.
who we know has had his injury issues as well. But,
But
if he
when
can
healthy.
but when healthy, you're right. Now
He's good.
They picked up Brissett as well for their backup.
Yep.
Jacoby.
Hopefully, you're not going to see any of Jacoby Brissett. Like you don't. I think seeing Fitzpatrick come in and out last year, bits and pieces when Tua was struggling, I don't think would have helped the young man's confidence at all.
No.
So I think you just give him the whole season, give him the 17 games now, as it were, and let it fly. And if it doesn't, if they get to the end of the year and they've gone, 6-11, like then maybe you look at it. But the damning thing for Tua at the moment is when they asked Brian Flores, I reckon it was about a day or two ago, on NFL Network about their interest in Deshaun Watson and if they're going to go out and try and get him. He didn't really back up Tua. It wasn't no, Tua's our guy. We love Tua. We think he's really good. Like it was more, I'm not going to talk about guys that aren't on our team. And it was like, no, I'm not
Wouldn't
gonna
have
go-
filled
I'm not
Tua
gonna
with
go into that.
confidence.
But it didn't really. Like he didn't say that yes they were going after him, but he also didn't say no. We're not going after him. Which Deshaun's got all that stuff in the air where the NFL's saying he's got a right to play this year, but he might be not a right to play next year based on if he gets banned or not. And there's all that off-season stuff going on with Deshaun. So
Which is very hard to pick through.
if you were and I feel like your interest in Deshaun wouldn't be there with all that around him if you were sold on Tua. So clearly they're not sold on Tua.
You can't be sold on him after his
No.
season last year, though.
No. I think you've
But
definitely
you'd like
got
to
to.
see them have a little bit more confidence.
You want to have
I feel like his confidence would be.
You've
shot
called out for
because of it.
17 games, right? I reckon you give him half a season and see where you're at the midway point.
Yeah.
Even if their record's good and he's been playing bad, he's gone.
Yeah.
They're getting
But
someone
what
in.
do they do?
Like, they're not going to get anything in return for him. It happens all the
No,
time.
but I'm saying halfway through the year, who do they bring in?
Or
Just give it to Brissett.
Jacoby Brissett.
Bring in Brissett.
you can't
If
be doing
Newton
that.
still hasn't got a team.
I reckon. I don't think it'll come to that. I think he's going to be better than what we reckon.
Yeah.
Like you got to remember.
I hope he
last
is.
year was
Oh,
his
he's-
first year, and so they had no preseason.
And he was injured.
He was injured and
injured
in
himself
and out.
halfway through his last season.
I just feel like he's going to be better. That whole last season of college football, his hip screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like he's going to be better.
I haven't heard any. You know when players you sort of know they're going to be good
Yeah.
before the season starts because you
There hasn't
talk
been
out
the
of
murmurs.
training
Yeah.
camp. There's all things leaking. They play some great games.
Yeah.
There's been none of that.
Donuts on him.
Yeah.
Like the Trey Lance news that's been coming out. Apparently he's lighting it up, and you hear it, and the team's excited.
Jones is lighting it up.
Mac
They're-
Jones is lighting it up. Yeah.
Bill Belichick's going, I'm picking him over Cam Newton.
Yeah.
You've got all of these stories happening and you're hearing nothing out of the Dolphins, which shows
Yeah.
you how coy they are on the situation,
Yeah.
which is why they're not willing to separate themselves from Deshaun Watson.
Yes, that conversation.
But by the time this podcast airs, Deshaun might even be there.
Well, let's play devil's advocate a little bit. You would be remiss as any side, probably in the NFL, outside of the very few, maybe the Chiefs and the Seahawks, not to entertain a Deshaun Watson kind of situation.
Yeah, I just wouldn't. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole at the moment because you don't know what's going to happen with that off-field stuff.
The
And
uncertainty of it all.
you don't want to bring him in or because they're asking for 3 first-rounders.
Yeah.
So if you do the deal, you send 3 first-rounders over, and let's say you've only got 1 a year, so you're sending 3 years worth of first-round picks, and then next year all this off-season stuff, off-field stuff blows up, and then you don't have him for next year. That's not a.
He's a franchise
that's not a
crippling
deal that
move.
I can yeah, exactly.
is the
You're
worst-
putting yourself into irrelevancy for 5 years if you make
It's
that
also
deal
not
and
good
then
for the
he's gone.
marketing of a franchise, too.
It's bad.
But I think about all of this stuff.
The
Well-
one thing I will say is Brian Flores did say we only we're interested in the quality and the caliber of our young men, which was the only way that he hinted. No, I don't really want to go.
Has
there."
Deshaun Watson been charged?
No,
Has Deshaun Watson been found guilty?
no.
Then I just think there's just too much up. I know there's a lot of allegations, and I'm not going to even begin to try and entertain that conversation. But I just think Deshaun Watson has shown at his time at Houston so far that he is a
he's a top five quarterback.
superstar talent.
five.
It's a huge decision for a
It's a
franchise
huge risk.
to make.
Yeah, it's a
huge
massive
risk.
risk. Like there is huge upside if
Correct.
this all goes away.
Correct.
The
But
thing
if
with this all
but
is,
if it
right,
goes the other way, it's like
It's
you're
one. It's
crippling your
You're
franchise.
at one end of the spectrum or you're the other.
Yeah,
You're
100%.
going.
There's no middle
We're
ground here at
competing
all.
for a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Oh dear, Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah.
is our starting quarterback next year, and we
Yeah.
don't have 3 first rounders.
Yeah.
I'd go as far to
Just
say
gamble.
if they had Deshaun Watson and he was playing this year, they'd be in the last 2 or 3 teams in the AFC left.
Definitely.
100%.
Definitely.
They are that good everywhere else.
And Deshaun is that
and
good.
I'd
Like,
say
we
they'd
cannot
probably,
forget
they'd
how
probably
good
win the division.
Yeah. Yep.
Be some bloody good games between the Bills and the Dolphins this
Yeah,
year if that actually
seriously
happens.
That came
would,
to-
yeah.
if that came to
100%.
fruition, for sure. Hey, speaking of the Bills,
Process
baby,
of elimination, Blaze.
there's only one that remains.
I,
Like,
Bills.
I reckon I liked going from the bottom to top.
didn't mind it.
Yeah.
Let us know, sports fans, in the comments section if you enjoyed a
Gives
different
more
format.
suspense.
It does give a little bit of suspense. But much like Schnazi said, and Highlander with Sean Connery, good movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's on
Back
Netflix
to
at the
movie
moment.
chat.
Buffalo Bills are the last
My
one
mob.
standing. Yep.
My mob.
Your Bills.
One of.
Out of New York.
Yeah. New York State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Bills. I've got them
Don't
going.
need to add the state, but yeah.
I've got them
Clarify.
going 13-4. Once again, this is off the back of an unreal season last year. Like, Josh Allen has exceeded all expectations.
Yep.
It's almost... Everyone sort of said in the draft it was a bit of a risk going after him, but just going after the quarterback that played in Wyoming, that played in the cold,
They said
going
that
to a
about
place
Pat
like
Mahomes.
Buffalo. It's just... He's performed so well. Diggs had a career season after coming from the Vikings. They gave up a lot to get him.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Number 1 receiver in the NFL.
Yep.
Led the league in yards.
Unreal seasons. Those two as a 1-2 punch was great. I said it before. Cole Beasley was great. The defense, they've got pieces everywhere. They've got players at cornerback. They've got people on the line. Like Ed Oliver's one who I continue to believe in. He was a
He's
top 10
underrated,
pick.
but he's really good.
A bit inconsistent. Had a few issues in Houston when he was at college, but I'm backing him in for an
So many
absolute
of them do, though.
huge year. I'm just all over the Bills. I can't see where they actually fall over this year.
No.
Not aware of any significant outs.
They've got to go to the Chiefs, and that's about the only one where you can put a line through them and go, I don't think you win that game. But the rest of them, they'll probably start favourites in almost every other game.
100%.
I would suggest so.
Yeah.
And to be fair, the fans or the bookies have set the line at 11.5.
Yeah, that's unders.
100% of fans have gone over.
Yeah, there you go.
Unanimous.
Yeah.
A unanimous
It
fan
is
result.
unanimous.
Yeah.
Well, so you got them 13-4. I've got them 14-3. So we're both very comfortable with how good the Bills are. The Bills. Edge is edge an issue because they spent their first 2 draft picks on the edge position. Greg Rousseau out of Miami and Carlos Basham, which is a great name, also an edge out of Wake Forest.
He's a good name.
And then they spend the next 2 picks on offensive line as well. So that's nice to shore up because you do like once you've got that cornerstone
You protect him.
quarterback, you go out and you protect him at all costs.
Yeah.
We saw that with the Chiefs this year. They've done it through the draft. I like it.
Yep, I like it.
I
think
like
that-
what they've done too.
You mentioned Ed Oliver. He plays up the middle
Yep.
as D tackle. So obviously getting some youthful edge
rushers,
and
yeah.
speed there kind of rounds out that approach, which is obviously a big bonus for them to keep that defense solid. If your offense, Stephon Diggs, that trade, as much as it was a fantastic trade for the Bills, obviously going the other way with the Vikings,
And the Vikings
with
as well.
Justin Jefferson, like that must be one of the most even trades in the history of the NFL. For
With how well
Yeah, it's not
Jefferson's
bad.
turned out.
I'd still
value.
rather be the Bills.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
Well, yeah, of course. But
Well,
you-
you're in a win now.
yeah.
The Vikings have got
100%.
Kurt.
Yeah,
I just think you couldn't dream up a more even
yeah, I guess.
for a team.
I'd still rather be the Bills.
The Vikings.
Both-
probably wanna
I
be-
do-
I think
What
what
I
you're
do
trying to
love-
say is both teams win.
both teams win.
Nobody lost that trade.
Mm.
I think is the best way. Yeah, I do. The thing I love about this Greg Rousseau pick as well, they sort of get him as steal here at 30 because he didn't play last year in college. He opted out, and then so they pick up a guy who probably would have gone higher
Yep.
if he had played the entire year. So that's what I like about that. Now they did pick up the old ever reliable Emmanuel Sanders at wide receiver, who does sort of just float from championship caliber team to championship caliber.
Bit of a
team.
gunslinger, isn't he?
Yeah,
Just
so
kind
they
of floats.
also picked up our old
Kills
mate.
up his manager every year and goes,
All right, I'm still chasing that chip.
Yeah, that's true. Mitch Trubisky there, though, so that's always nice to see. Actually did tear it up in week 2 of the preseason.
to be honest though, like if something did happen to Josh Allen, not the worst fullback option.
No, definitely not. Not a
Mitch
guy that-
Trubisky
not
as
guy that's
a
played in the league.
we take the Mickey or we
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
the piss out of him as a backup
He's not one
as
of
a
the best,
starter.
He's not one of
Yeah.
the best 32 quarterbacks, but he's a fantastic backup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It'd be one of the best backups in the league.
definitely.
So it's a pleasure to have you, Mitch. Welcome. Just don't play. Thanks.
Happy to have you, but I really don't want to see you on the field.
Yeah,
If I
exactly
see him
right.
on the field, it means there's something wrong with Josh Allen.
Just
Yes.
run those drinks out, baby. Just get it done.
Gatorade guy.
Gatorade guy.
Mate, he could make a career out of being Josh Allen's Gatorade guy.
Yeah.
He could
There's
just sit
worse
there and
jobs.
like a few $1 million a year, just being a
Mate.
backup quarterback going, oh, mate, Joshy,
Being a backup quarterback.
you're so strong.
the
Stop
best.
stroking me and saying.
Backup quarterback is the best job in the world. You're
If
getting
you're a-
paid. You're getting paid plenty, You never have to do anything.
Yeah.
As long as that nobody gets injured.
Did they make a
And you're
TV
just-
show
you're
out of
just chilling.
that? Blue
Yeah,
Mountain State?
yeah.
He just loved his life. 'cause
It's
he's
just
the
like
backup
Brian
dancer.
Let's say Blue Water High.
Oh, jeez.
It's a bit different.
G'day, Bruce.
Yeah.
Our American viewers are like, what the hell is Blue
Yeah.
Water High?
All 6 of them.
35% of our audience on podcasts is American.
There's 6.
Yeah, I've lost my train of thought.
Oh, if you don't laugh, you cry. That was brutal.
That's it for tonight.
On that note, I'm going to go cry. Well, we'll all cry to sleep now for that
It's early.
one,
It's
Chucky.
pre-season numbers, boys. Don't
That's
worry
all
about
right.
it.
We'll get going, baby. Slim Slam and the Bandwagon fan, thank you again for joining us. Our sponsors, Jersey Cartel and JRV Electrical, thank you so much for being on board and helping us grow and really throwing your support behind us. I think everything said and done, I would really enjoy the social media channels to continue to fire up as well. Just get that energy out there, and we will look forward to seeing you there. But Chucky,
Fantastic. He's been Slam. I've been Slam. That's the Bandwagon fan. Good night.